like a breach and clear situation, you know.
Uh-oh. That's
So
terrifying.
I was trying to break into this house.
You're breaking and entering into a house?
It was a special operation, Michael. I had to.
Like,
Yeah,
as
you're
in,
using
like,
this-
like you're an operator type of thing, or what?
Like in Rainbow
Like
Six?
I am Sam Fisher himself, and I am breaking in. I had two other people on my team, but I remember distinctly loading my gun and like killing people. Like,
Oh, whoa.
and
Okay.
I had a pistol, right? I had 2 pistols, okay, but
you're
they were special
dual wielding.
pistols because they could have different sized ammunition in the same
In the same clip?
the same
Whoa.
magazine. So I would just like load it in, and I'd be like, all right, I'm counting it in. So like, all right, first 2 are regular, and the next 2 are like heavy rounds. And then
Yeah.
I was like, I had to time it, and the heavy round just like blew somebody apart. Like,
Oh, God.
What the fuck?
and yeah, it was. It was.
What
a
did you
pretty brutal
watch
dream.
before this? That would like trigger something like that. Were you watching like
don't
a
know.
Black Adam just blowing people apart.
I did watch Black Adam.
'Cause I'm pretty sure he
I
kills
did
people in
did
that
see
movie,
that.
right?
But it wasn't like he does kill lots of people, but it's not like violent deaths because it's still PG-13.
Okay.
My dream was definitely violent. I was
Okay.
like, man,
yeah?
that
There's
dude-
some blood and gore there.
Yeah.
guy was obliterated. But yeah, I don't know. I was pinned down at one point, and then got out of it.
You're
It's just
Kimbo.
a
You're
little bit
Kimbo
of that.
shooting.
Yeah.
How did that
But
work?
none of it felt stressful, right? So normally you might classify that as a stress dream, but that didn't feel stressful to me. I'm like, this is just another day on the job.
Yeah,
You know?
like, yeah, here it is.
Another day, another dollar.
Another day, another death. I don't know, something.
Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know. I was more exhilarating than
Then like
stressful.
fearful. You want to know the dream I had last night? It was extremely stressful. It was okay. So it was very complicated, and I kind of wish I wrote it down because I didn't, because it was there was a lot going on, a lot of like cohesive plot. But basically, it started off with me actually playing a different character. I was playing a 12-year-old like kid, and it wasn't myself as a 12-year-old. It was like a different kid. So I was
are always
this-
video games.
yeah, yeah. But so I was this kid, and basically it started off as this weird thing where it's like there's this bully or something like that, and I was just getting fed up. This bully we were all in like this like farmhouse thing with a bunch of families, and this bully
man.
just kept like being really mean to everyone. So we were with all the families, and all of a sudden I just tell this kid off. I'm like, dude, you're a loser. You know what you are? You're just a freaking stupid loser. No one
Nice.
likes you. Did you know that no one likes you? Like I just like sent him down. And then
Wow.
he like apparently got the message or something, and he was like, "Oh, okay, I guess I'll just whatever." But
Okay.
but then there was like a bunch of kids in this dream, and the bully I don't think ever reappeared in this dream. That was just a big moment in the storyline apparently.
Set the scene.
Yeah. So then we're all the kids are walking out. It's nighttime in this field, in this farmland place. And we're all walking down, and I'm like, guys, something's just not right. Something is just off. And I look back, and I'm just like looking around. I'm like, and all of a sudden I just know. Basically the whole the entire setting. Well, the setting was like it was in Silence, and then I realized, oh, we're playing in Silence real life right now.
Oh, like it's like dark and there's like farms.
Yeah,
and
yeah. It's like
there's
dark,
a monster.
and there's a monster, but the monster wasn't the creepy monster. It was just a person who had like red eyes. Ooh. And then I instinctively was like, okay, we can't move or they're gonna be able to see us. But like, there's 12 of us there. One of them kids was the monster. So I was like, I'm like, dude, we're all dead. There's no way we're gonna live. And then I realized, oh, if I just stay still, he can't see me. He can't see me. So I stand there. 4 of the kids just get completely obliterated by this monster, like wiped out.
Oh man.
Like it's a person, so it's not the in silence thing. But imagine like, I'm trying to think. It's like they had like a clawed like hand, so they'd whip it out and they'd like animate like throw that person like across the field, like they'd just be obliterated.
Wow.
So we're just sitting there like can't move. And the monster just like went after people. Some kids just broke and had to run, and then the monster went after them, and then I ran, and then the dream ended at some point. It was terrifying. It was terrible.
That was
Yeah.
terrifying.
That's a good story though.
The crazy thing is I know there was so much more to it, and I just don't. Since I didn't write it down, I don't remember it. But
I see.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have probably felt like that when you just don't write down one of your dreams, and you're like, I know it was detailed, but I can't remember all the details, just these bits.
Yeah, usually just a certain part of it.
Yeah.
Like I know I did. I know there was. Usually for me though, if I don't write it down, I still remember the end of the dream.
Yeah.
But I usually don't remember the beginning as well. Like
I
I know
see.
there was a lot more to my dream, like a lead up to the assault on this castle.
Oh, yeah.
What was that?
Right.
But I don't remember that.
Gotcha. Okay.
I just remember the shoot off.
Yeah.
Colton, your camera's like lagged.
Is it lagging on my
Like
end?
I'm hearing you fine, but it's like a second.
Actually, no, it's good now. It was
Did it just
before
fix itself?
though. Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Look.
Yeah, it's good now. That was weird.
Here's the thing. I really need to figure out my Wi-Fi. I'm on Wi-Fi on my desktop, and I really need to stop and not do that.
Yeah.
I need to.
Just run a cable over the wall.
Either that or what I actually do. I'm technically Wi-Fi, but I use a Wi-Fi range extender. So it's got it's a TP link. You literally plug an Ethernet jack from the back of your computer into this device. You plug the device into the wall, and it's like
Yeah.
it's just a high band Wi-Fi
just
receiver
Wi-Fi extender.
transmitter. So it allows me to get actually fairly good stable connection from my
Still not
the
as
Wi-Fi.
good though.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
like,
as good as a hard line. Absolutely.
that's the
But
thing.
What's your
problem
ping?
is I can't run. I can't run.
Yeah, you can't.
a
You just
cable
can't
for
do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
It's on the other side of the house.
I've just been putting it off. I need to do it. I need to get fiber. Like I want to get my fiber. I need to do a lot of things still, and I just haven't done them.
Ebre?
Fibre.
Yeah.
Yep. So
You get your daily fiber intake.
fiber. Yeah, fiber 1 bars. Give me that fiber.
Daily dose
Gigabit
of
fiber. Anyways, are we ready to intro this podcast, my friends?
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah.
Cool. All
Do you
right.
want to try what I
Yeah,
said we
let's
should
try
do?
your thing, Sean, and if we'll just like see what happens, and we can do our thing as we go.
All right. Well, I'm gonna you start, and then I'm just gonna go like in step with you.
Okay.
It's gonna be so stupid.
Let's just see what happens.
Welcome
Welcome
to
to
Almost
Almost
a
a
Podcast.
Podcast.
I'm your
This
host,
is- I am
Sean,
your host today,
my two
Colton,
bros
and I'm
my two
joined
co-hosts,
with my
Colton
two
and
lads,
Michael.
co-hosts, Sean and Mike.
Let's jump into it.
Let's go. Today's a really special one, lads, because this is basically our year-long podcast. This is the 53rd episode. So we've been doing this a
1 year
year
anniversary.
now. It's our 1 year anniversary. And, we've been through a lot of crazy discussions on this podcast. We've been through a lot of ups and downs on this podcast. Not really, just mostly ups because, swag. But
Up and up.
I wanted to take the time, for this episode to just kind of go through, just the memories, kind of reminisce on the podcast, our favorite discussions to get those up to speed who might not have been following us since the beginning, and just kind of talk about ourselves, be really narcissistic this episode. So
Yep.
I hope
mean, that's
everyone
us every
listening
episode,
is
though.
ready. What was that,
Yeah,
Mike?
I mean every episode we just talk
It's
about stuff.
us every episode though. We just talk about
Well,
ourselves.
This is like breaking the
Random
fourth
shit.
wall, talking about ourselves. We're like
That's true. Yeah.
acknowledging we're on a podcast and talking about our podcast. So, yeah, I wanted to start it off, I guess. If you guys have an answer, I suppose. I wanted to see your opinions on your favorite discussion that we've had on this podcast. I know there's a lot of different discussions, but I know there's a few that have come to mind that I really enjoyed, and just some were funny, some were actually real good just good conversation, and I'm just curious if any stuck out to either of you, like from the beginning of our podcast or from the middle to now.
Yeah, I've definitely few come to mind. One thing I really like about kind of the podcast environment is that we are forced to essentially pull like different stories in that otherwise wouldn't come up in normal conversation, right? Like
Yeah,
us talking
yeah.
about like these dreams or these ghost stories, right? That we had never talked about before, even though we've known each other for
A
years.
while. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
choosing a topic can be really nice in that way, and then also just when we do derail and we kind of just go with it. For me, honestly,
we will.
One of my favorite conversations happened just recently. I loved when we talked about Halloween candy. That was a good combo.
Yeah.
And it's just something where it would be so easy to just pass up on it in normal conversation. But since we're in a podcast environment, we have to kind of elaborate on that stuff. And it was fun to just get more details out of it. I don't know, trying to make something that may seem mundane, but into something that's really entertaining, and just you can get more info about our personalities from something so weird and different, you know? So
Yeah, I feel
I thought
that.
that was fun.
I like the more in-depth ones that we've had, right? Something like the dreams or the ghosts, or just the most recent one that comes to mind for me is the personality test, right?
yeah,
Is-
that was a good one.
Kind of, yeah, we had understanding.
We should definitely, I don't want to interrupt too hard, but we should definitely reference the exact episode in case anyone wants to go back and check that out.
Sure.
So if you pull up our list of stuff, you can see what episode title that is, or number.
Yeah. So the Halloween.
Which one did you just say, Michael? You said that was the personality test?
Yeah.
That was episode 49. Diving into our personalities.
A very recent one for us, yeah.
And then Colton, yours was Halloween.
Yeah, that was
51,
episode
like last
51.
episode.
That was one of that was very recent for us. So, and then episode 22 was another really good one. If
That's
you
what
remember
I was
it.
going to mention.
Oh, really? See, this one
Yeah.
needs to turn into TikToks. This one has a couple
Which one was
different
that?
TikTok.
The one where we did the would you like the questions.
Oh yes, Sean, that was a brilliant idea when you picked that up. The
That was
weird
The
questions.
title was kicking each other in the ribs.
Yes,
Because it was
that one was funny.
It was just 10 thoughtful questions that were, I don't know, just they
that really made you choose.
yeah, you
Yeah.
had to
You know?
you had to choose something, and you didn't have a lot of context in what would happen. It's just kind of like what you interpret it to be, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I loved having topics because sometimes we don't, and I'll be the first to admit, most of my episodes that I host tend to be just off the rails from the beginning. Mm-hmm. But it's fun to do a topic and have something to focus you onto, because you generally do more of a deep dive into things that you wouldn't normally go for so long, like you were saying, Colton.
Yeah, and even if you kind of start random and talking about different types of things, having the topics to kind of refocus the situation or the conversation definitely helps.
Yeah.
Because we've had a couple of episodes that weren't planned. You know, for me especially, I've hosted where I didn't really have a plan, and I mean we've had good combos there too, but they definitely weren't as focused. They were kind of just off the wall conversations, and you know, it's not as, for me, if I were to be critical of that kind of mentality, probably not as
Yeah.
entertaining to listen to, I suppose.
Yeah. Engaging. Yeah.
Except for the Halloween candy
Alright.
one, because that was not planned, and I still think that was kind of entertaining, personally. But
I
Yeah.
think that was entertaining.
I'm almost the opposite. I feel like the
love trip
tangential.
down memory lanes, you know. Like that the candy one kind of gives us is stuff I haven't thought of in years.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
yeah,
It's been 15 years since you thought about it.
Yeah. And you like when you go on tangents, Michael?
Oh yeah, I love when we go on tangents because I feel like that's where it's fun. At least from, and not only from I think a viewership perspective, but also just from a me perspective. I think it's a lot of fun when we just go off the rails a little bit. Now I do agree that we should stay focused on a topic, because it gives a structure, right? It gives like a
It's like bumper
scaffolding.
lanes in a bowling, you know.
Exactly, yeah. But you'll like go off these weird tangents. Now, sometimes it can be a little off-putting when we're all on different tangents, or we
Yeah.
have like very different ideas of where this tangent is going to go. But for the most part, I think it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I think when it comes to a little bit of a problem, and I've noticed we did this a lot more in the beginning of the podcast, is when we kept going on different tangents from the tangent. And
Yeah.
I feel like we'd have different topics. We just keep bouncing off different ideas, going into completely different topics from the tangent. And when tangents work, I feel like they work really well when we're all able to kind of focus on that tangent for a while and then reel it back in, which I think we've
We're
gotten
all
better
of
at.
like mind.
Yeah. Well, I think we've gotten better at it as the podcast has gone on, which is really good.
I mean,
Well, yeah.
we've gotten way better at doing the podcast.
I think so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even our first 10 episodes were still like a lot of learning, and then we definitely started to get it after that.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's definitely some things we can work on. I think for one is we definitely have a tendency to interrupt each other. I think that's just due to the limitations of Discord and the medium, because there's this like half-second delay that the brain
Right.
just doesn't. It's like, oh, there's a lull in conversation, and you want to like fill it in a sense, right? And then what happens is two people jump in trying to fill that conversation, and
Yeah.
yep,
I do think, for the most part, though, we have gotten used to each other's rhythm
yeah,
so that it happens less than at least I think it does than it would happen before. But even still, yeah, we do that occasionally.
I know. For me personally, I felt a lot more confident in, especially after those first 10 episodes. I used to be kind of nervous. I remember just like kind of the stories and being kind of almost anxious, right, when hopping on this. And now it's like, it's part of the thing, right? And
It's a part of the weekly ritual.
Part of
Yeah,
the
it is.
weekly
And-
ritual.
and I think it's helped me in like life too, is being able to tell stories better and being a little bit more open with, different topics and conversation in life. Even though that wasn't a huge problem before, as you guys know, as we talked about before, I'm kind of the one person here where I'll be like, I'll just go up to someone and just start talking with them, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, maybe that's the Midwesterner in me. But yeah, I think
feel
it's
like
really
it's-
helped.
I feel like it's changed some of the stuff I do personally as well. I remember when we first started doing this, I would do this thing where, and if you go back to earlier episodes, you'll hear me do it. Every time I started a sentence or a new thought or was thinking, I would click my tongue,
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
I don't think I'd
When I
noticed
do that, I would be like,
honestly.
I would like do that kind of like the Hereditary thing, actually.
Oh God! Don't remind me of that, man. That's like that movie was freaky.
I don't remember even how I did it now, but I would do this thing where, or like that.
Yeah.
I would do that a lot.
Like a
And
tisk.
yeah, and I when I was editing the podcast, I heard that and thought, man, that is really annoying. Why do I do that? Mm-hmm. And within a couple episodes, just cut it out of my life.
Interesting.
You know?
That's really good.
That is
I
really
noticed
good.
that we
That's-
also say
stuff
like
like
a
that.
lot, and we've been working on that.
That's a whole another thing that I am still actively right now speaking this sentence. am trying to avoid. And that's something where, I think it was around episode even 40, 42. I haven't been thinking about it for the past like 20 episodes. And Sean brought it up in conversation once. And I'm just saying to myself, oh, yeah, that is something I need to continue to do. That's just good for any type of speaking. You're way
Yeah.
more you're a way better speaker if you cut out those filler words. And I think it's been
Absolutely.
helping me a little bit, little by little. I'm still not where I want to be for sure, but
Yeah.
we're getting there. One day we'll get there.
One thing that the viewers aren't aware of that we should probably let them know is when we do the like thing, we'll like put a couple fingers up and just count how many times someone has said like, just on like the Discord call, right? So we've got our hands up.
It's
doing
like a
that. I think
shame.
If
that's
I
pretty
hear
fun.
when you guys doing it a lot, I will try and do that.
Yep.
Sometimes I get nervous. I feel like it has the opposite effect because when you guys keep putting your fingers up, I'm just very hyper analyzing the next
Yep.
words in my sentence.
Yeah, I don't really want to do it because I feel like when we say that, the viewer might think we do it all the time, but it's really seldom that we'll actually do that.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Only
But
when
it
it's
still
noticeable.
is something that's useful to do. I
Yeah.
think occasionally, just to remind somebody that, maybe think about what you're doing.
Right. And I think for me, I know I used to talk and still do when I'm around people I don't know very well. I can start talking really fast like this and I start going into really, really, I don't talk slowly. And this podcast has been really helping me slow down my talking and be a lot more concise with my wording and such.
measured and focused. in how
Yeah.
you speak.
Yeah. So for me, that when the like thing comes up, slowing down is a big help as well, which I feel like it makes my, just talking and conversation seem a lot more organized and natural when I do think about the likes, because I'm not talking inherently fast like I like to. There's two.
But that's a legitimate
That's
use
a
of
legitimate
like, rather than the Valley Girl. I like this, like that, right? So it's a
Right.
terrible Valley Girl accent, but yeah, we can work on that.
I remember actually when that became a thing, because it was around, I want to say, middle school, like early high school, when people started to say like in common conversation. Before then, it wasn't a thing.
Yeah, I feel like my parents
Really?
have no issue with this. I don't know many adults, older like boomers, that have this problem personally.
Yeah, Gen Xers, Boomers, yeah.
Right.
Well, but yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It wasn't a thing, and then at some point, I don't know the word for like the origin of language or the development of language, but it happened where it became a common filler word.
It became a
Yeah.
colloquialism.
Normally, it became a colloquialism that was not possible. It wasn't before, and you've seen people, even adults, adopt it now into as part of their vernacular.
That's some
That's-
$2
it's just been
words
weird.
right there.
Yeah. Like people have been saying for a long time.
Oh
but-
yeah.
Yeah.
But like was fairly recent in terms of the
colloquialisms.
vocabulary.
And you're from
people do.
Cali, which is where it kind of got started. So
Yeah. Well, and it was more of like a joke movie thing, and then it started to
It
actually
just
become a
catches
thing.
on. Yeah, people I feel like it just kind of caught on and there was no stopping it. It was ironic at first and then it became
Yeah.
non-ironic. Like, oh crap.
Yep.
I'm turning into this.
Time.
part of your like subconscious,
Yeah,
which is terrifying, right?
it is. So,
I'm going back through and looking at our episode titles, and sometimes I think, what did I? why
Sean's
did I
cracking
title it
himself
like
up.
that?
I actually
Yeah.
really have liked your episode title, Sean. I've never really.
Oh yeah.
I feel like you've been really good with the episode titles. I don't think I could have made as good of titles, and I feel like they are always pretty on point to some sort of inside joke at the very least of the episode. They're pretty good.
I feel that I'm better at titles than I am at descriptions. Because descriptions, I've kind of just started going, 2 to 3 things that we talk about in the episode. Occasionally, I'll like talk directly to the viewer in the description.
I actually
that's-
have,
that's kinda funny.
I haven't noticed that. Which one do you do that? Do you know?
I don't remember. I'd have to go read them all.
Do
But,
you have drip?
but-
We have drip. Let us know.
God.
There's there's some that I would immediately know what the episode's about, and there's some that I just don't remember what we were talking about. I saw one earlier that made me think of that, and I cannot remember which one it was now. Some of them are actually pretty explanatory. The exposing our cupboards, I thought that was a really good episode.
That was a very good episode, a very good idea, and a good
episode
episode.
32.
Episode 32, where we took pictures of our current cupboard situations and judged each other for it. That's a very unique idea that needs to go on a TikTok. I need to make a note. What needs to go into the TikToks next?
Yeah, you did a great
this
job with
episode-
that original one.
I need to keep making them.
Thank you. Seasonal kitchen knives. What were we talking about in that episode?
Yeah.
That doesn't make. You gotta get the clickbait up there, Sean. Gotta work on
we were
those
talking-
clickbait titles.
Let's see what my summary was. What? I even misspelled the description. What going on this season in anime?
Wait,
Hang
what?
on.
The perfect kitchen knife. Why Thor disappointed us. The most expensive Roomba and more.
Yeah, that was one
You
of the
like
off the wall ones.
Thor.
That was-
3 sucks, or Thor 4 sucks. Sorry, it's 4.
Thor
Yeah,
4
that was
sucks.
after we saw Ragnarok, I think. No, that was after we saw
It was
Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder. Yep.
Yeah.
Seasonal kitchen. I should have done a Thor title. I don't know what I was thinking. Or the economics of McDonald's, episode 41. What was that about?
I remember this specifically. I was really upset that a McDouble cost $2, and I remembered.
This is when
8
we were
years
talking
ago.
about economics.
Yeah,
I'm laughing at my own discussion, my own things now. This is why
Sean
I
cracks
assume that
himself
I'm
up.
just an extreme narcissist because I'll make a video or I'll title something or a big description and I'll read it back a while later and still laugh.
I won't call it narcissism. I call it just you know exactly what is funny to you.
yeah,
Like I think I am funny. So
yeah. Therefore, it is fun.
Yep.
Summary was today we cover everything from traveling in Prague to how McDonald's is the gold standard of the U.S. economy.
Wow, that's like a
Which
hot
to
take
me
too.
I think is hilarious.
It is
That is
pretty
pretty funny,
funny.
yeah.
As long as people know we're joking. I could see people being like, "Oh my god, these guys think McDonald's is the gold standard. What's going on?"
Hey, if they want to get up in arms about it, go ahead.
hey,
as
come
long
on
as
the
they watch
podcast.
episode.
Yeah, tell us why we're wrong.
Yep. McDonald's is how you judge an economy, honestly.
I also had some I think sometimes I assume that everybody knows the same stuff I do, so I'll do these deep cut memes that no one understands.
Yeah.
The episode 47 I titled Dream Dream Dream, right? But I'll actually describe what the meme was in the
Oh,
summary.
okay, that's good. That's
I
good.
said like that
what's
one
the
Spy
meme?
Kids movie, or was it Shark Boy or Lava Girl? Anyway, let's psychoanalyze each other's dreams.
Yeah. But it's been fun. We'll see what's the highest one. The still highest one we have is
Highest
Return of the Snacks
watched
downloads. Yeah.
Yeah, that's our two guest podcasts are our highest apparently. Mm-hmm. So
First one was with Carly, I believe.
yeah, we had a Carly one and then a Denzel one, I believe, that has hit the top charts. So
Yeah, and then Way Too Spicy is the next one.
way too spicy, which is technically grammatically incorrect, but I like how it is now.
It's
I thought
way
it was grammatically correct.
No.
it is
Well,
correct. It's
it
way
can
too
be.
spicy, but you misspelled too because I think you were trying to say way too spicy, right? Like as in
It's a
extremely
double
spicy.
entendre, all right? It's
Sure.
It's both.
Sure, Sean.
Yeah, that's it's kind of funny. 'cause
I'm pretty sure that someone corrected me and I had the TOO and someone corrected me and said it was TO, so I changed
No,
it.
no. I don't think so. Because I was like,
No?
Sean, you misspelled it. But that's kind of funny because it means something different now, which I thought was cool. I was like, yeah, this is funny now. Yeah.
Then maybe we kept it because
Yeah,
of
we
that?
kept
Or-
it, I think. Yeah. Because it's now the way too spicy. Like spicy is a noun. So I think
Or
it's
we were
funny.
going too spicy.
Yeah.
To the spice.
To the spice. We are on our way to spicy. Yeah. That one is good. I think our first episode is actually kind of up there in our top 10, at least right now, which kind of makes sense.
I remember this actually because the title is "We Buy a House."
Yeah.
Episode.
That was a
1.
great-
A
I
great
remember that
clickbait
actually fairly
title.
vividly.
A great clickbait title. And honestly, a great
it?
first conversation. This is when we weren't as practiced right now. We should try to go revisit that combo with just the current market of Japanese houses and talk about it
Current
again.
thoughts?
Because it's a good conversation and it was completely blind. I had no idea Sean was going to talk about it. And I didn't know how to
Well,
react.
to be fair, most of ours are blind. We'll usually, sometimes we'll mention something. So, let's get into how we go through the podcast right here, right? Is
Yeah.
Inside the mind.
inside the
mind
mind.
of the podcast, lads.
Yeah. Yep. But what we do is essentially just go in blind most of the time. And
Pretty much.
Here's our thought process. We don't have
the
one.
The host decides what the is and what the topic
What
is.
the is?
Yeah. As you can see, I've really improved.
You've done a-
Yes. But the host decides what the topic is and usually going blind. Sometimes we'll mention it, especially in some cases where we have to get further homework.
Yeah,
Great
there are
example.
prep episodes, like the dream episode. It was a
Yeah.
month in the making.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Or
Yep, that
the
took some
psych
prep.
exam one, which required us to take
Yeah.
the psychology
Mm-hmm.
tests. But for the most part, it's totally blind, so we're not assuming what
You-
the other person has.
Usually a couple days in advance. we'll text each other and go, what are we talking about?
So yeah, what's going
If
on?
that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, who's well, first, who's hosting?
Right.
Because you never remember.
we
who's
never
hosting.
remember usually, and then yeah, we nailed on the topic sometimes.
And then we get a topic on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's worked out pretty well.
It has.
Honestly.
You know, it's
Yeah.
it's good because I think we're getting better at. You know, I think we still have a ways to go, but we're getting much better at
Ways.
going with the flow.
What's up with our talking today?
Are
We're
we-
all saying things
are-
weird.
See, okay, this is linking back to the New Year's resolution episode when we were trying to make more coherent sentences. And
Is that
I
one of
feel
your
like
New Year's resolutions? Honestly,
that was
I don't recall
seriously.
that.
I don't know the episode number off the top of my head. I'm looking, but there was an episode where it's
Wait.
like, what do we want to do for the podcast in the new year? And one of mine specifically was I want to be better with my vocabulary and just overall flow. And I feel like I've gotten
I
2%
thought
done with that
You
goal.
had good flow. You had good flow, but it was like expanding word choice. and
Well,
being a
expanding
little
word
bit
choice.
more-
I keep saying like
Yeah.
I'll try to explain
Either
something.
episode 8, 9, or 10.
Yeah, and I just couldn't. I couldn't find the
Yeah.
vocabulary to eloquently say what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
I ended up
usually
just using.
the opposite problem that I do, where I'm like, I don't have great flow, but I like pull these random words out of my ass. Like, what was the vocabulary word I just used?
Colloquialism?
Colloquialism. Thank
Colloquial.
you.
Yeah, I couldn't figure that
Yeah.
out like right away. I would have been like
Yeah.
what Sean was saying, words where it just kind of comes into society and you just start saying it, kind of thing. Yeah, I would not have been able to think
Yeah,
of that.
I try and describe the word. I think of.
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Honestly,
like I remember.
since I've started reading again recently, the vocabulary has been coming back to me slowly.
Oh, see, that's a good,
That's good.
method. That's a good method to do it. Read. Like you get words
Yeah.
from reading.
Educate yourself.
Educations.
Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
I've
You
been
say, Michael?
I've been rereading Tolkien actually.
Oh, yeah?
Silmarillion. After Rings of
Oh,
Power, I'm
that
like,
one.
I need to get back to like reading that. So I decided to start rereading it. It's between reading and then sometimes I'll switch to audiobooks in the evening. But yeah, it's been enjoyable. That if you want
hard
really
part for
good
me-
flow, listen to him. The poetry.
Oh,
It's like
jeez.
every single word is poetry.
Wow.
Man.
The hard part for me when reading, especially when reading books with topics that are going to be more out there, like I read a lot of sci-fi, and sometimes really like heavy sci-fi. So there'll be words in it that I have to. I read it, and you know when you're reading and you read through something, and your brain just goes blah, blah, blah,
Yeah. You're like,
To
whoa,
go
whoa,
back.
whoa, wait a minute.
and
I
think,
don't
all
actually
right, let me parse through every syllable and try and figure out what this word is, because sometimes I do get that. Especially with like names of ships or
Oh,
Oh,
really
yeah.
complicated.
random quantum processes.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like Trafalgar or something like that, and you're like, what is this?
What is going on? Yeah.
but doing that helps because as a kid I never did that. I just was like whatever. I'll
Whatever.
Yeah.
pronounce that
Do you,
how I
like,
think it's gonna be
look up
pronounced.
each word individually, like, hey, I identified this word as something I just don't understand. So you go on
I actually
Wikipedia.
don't look up words because nowadays I kind of understand all the words. You know,
You
have
understand
them all
all the
in there.
words, just
They're
like
all in there.
colloquialism.
maybe I don't fully comprehend, but context clues give me enough. And as long as I can pronounce it right, then I think I know what it means.
I see.
Good.
Okay.
Right. They're all in the bank, but then coming back to retrieve them later and use them is another challenge
Yeah.
in and of itself.
That's
Yeah.
a good analogy. Yeah. I feel like
So.
that's the problem with a lot of things. It's like, I've read this somewhere before. It's like the problem of like, losing. You learn so much in a thing, you've lost like the basics. Like I've had that problem with
Yeah.
math, right? Like, Colton and I both got to. Well, you got through all your math. I got to like high level
all-
calculus.
We all took
And-
we both high level calculus.
And Sean, you got to high level calculus too, right?
Nice calculus too.
He-
I was
yeah.
like, screw this.
He did it,
I'm
and
not
then
doing
he's
that
like,
anymore.
"Let's just not anymore."
Yeah. But I'm like, at this point, I'm like, basic math sometimes, like, oh, multiplication or division or addition, subtraction. So I'm like, wait, what is this? I got to like, pick the brain for a moment because originally, like in those math classes, we'd be doing like really, high level stuff, and I'd forget like, oh, this addition problem, and I'm like, I'm just gonna use my calculator for it, right?
Right.
Just shortcut it. But
I think one of the most underrated things people could wish for is just to be smarter.
Oh,
You know?
you get 3 wishes and just be smarter. Huh?
Have you seen the movie Limitless?
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Where he takes this drug and then all of a sudden he's like really smart.
Right.
Or less than that, can just recall everything.
Oh yeah.
Because if you can recall
he learn
everything,
things really fast.
Yeah, he's able to just
then,
learn how to do
if I could just
everything.
remember everything that I ever saw or read or heard, then I feel a lot of things that I do would be a lot easier. And I so wish, like, if I got a genie and the genie was like, all right, 3 wishes, all right, that would definitely be one of them. Also telekinesis, but like definitely smarter.
Also
or just perfect
telekinesis.
recall. Just I don't need to be smarter. I just want to have like photographic memory.
See, okay, derailing a little bit here, but I think that would almost be a curse. I've always thought, you know how, okay, going back to the
Blessing and a curse.
going back to the Hereditary movie we watched, and how Carly was saying that at that one scene, slight spoilers for Hereditary. Maybe I won't spoil it. There's a scene that Carly can't get out of her head, and it's terrible.
If you've seen the movie, I think you know what the scene is.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But there's a scene that's like really graphic, not great, that she can't get out of her head. But if you had a full total recall of that moment, you're gonna always remember that in perfect memory. You'll remember the sound it makes,
Yeah.
the visuals. And I'm just thinking, if you see something absolutely terrible by accident in real life one day, you'll never be able to just let that go or not forget it, you know?
I feel like that happens though normally. If it's something like that that so affects you so much, you're still gonna have that memory.
I feel
Yeah.
like, but it can blur away. PTSD, your brain tries to forget that trauma. That's a thing, right? Your brain tries to, forget some of the bad stuff.
Probably.
And
I'm no expert,
Let's
but-
see. Let's put an example out here. It'll be a little dark. Let's say that you witness someone falling from a 20-story building and hit the ground. Right now,
Yeah.
a regular person will see that. They'll look away, right as they hit the ground or whatever, and all that's blurred. And your brain's going at a million miles an hour. You don't remember the details. But if you had total recall, I feel like you would still remember all these tiny little details of the whole situation and in the perfect terror that it was. And it would just be hard to get over, I think.
I just think it happens normally. Like when Michael almost died in a lake on a boat. I bet you remember all of that very well.
To a degree, yeah.
Or no.
But you don't truly remember.
It's a traumatic experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
remember it
there's
all.
definitely a memory synthesis there, right? But there's definitely moments where I'm like, this is seared into my brain forever.
Yeah. I just can think of like some instances, scary movies when I was young. When I watched Halloween for the first time, I hated it. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. I hate Slayer movies still. And I'm glad I could forget some of that stuff that I saw on the screen. I really do. I just didn't.
That's fair.
Yeah. Probably.
It's
in
not
one
a
each
power for
case.
everybody. It's just an underrated one, I think.
Yeah.
And I definitely would like that.
Yeah. It
I was gonna say this is a total side topic. I'm almost the opposite. It's the demon shit that I can't handle. But Slayer movies, I'm like, I'm totally fine with that.
Really?
Yeah. Well, we had this topic.
We just
So, for context, we watched Hereditary, as you already know. And during like the
Couple
very
nights
start of it, we had this conversation about like our feelings on those types of movies. And Carly was watching it with us, Cole's girlfriend, and then the 3 of us. And this is like what we wanted to do a movie night for Halloween, right?
Yeah.
Or for celebrating the month of October and spookiness.
it's also for another podcast down the line, potentially.
spook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
one of the things that, for me, that I noticed is that Carly was like always freaked out about demon shit, and I'm the same way. I'm like, I don't like the supernatural. Also, but like, Slayer movies, I have no problem with Slayer movies because they're just people, and I can deal with people.
People. They're just people dying. They're all
You
dying.
go up to him and be like, "Hey, man, let's just talk about it."
Well, I don't know if I've told this on the podcast yet, but the first time I played, so do you remember Slender Man?
Yeah. I remember that.
Oh yeah,
Like the
Okay,
game?
but
The
Yeah, the
computer
game.
games.
Yeah.
So that was like my first horror-ish game that I played, and I played it with like a group of friends. We were in my friend's basement. It was around like this time, like Spooktober, and we were all like, "Oh, we gotta play a spooky game," so we're playing this on his like Mac, right? And it's like tiny little screen. We're all like huddled around it.
Oh man.
And everyone else was like freaking out, and I go ahead and play it. And I'm like, "Oh, hey Slendy, how's it going?" And I just like walk up to him, and I immediately die. I'm like, "Oh shit, okay." That's how the game ended. But I don't know the demon shit or like the stuff like losing control of yourself that freaks me the fuck out.
I think, well, and I was saying the other day I was saying how I'm the opposite. If it's a movie, strictly speaking movies, demon stuff is less likely to be scary to me because it's just not possible. So
Yeah.
I see that and I go,
You're like, oh, it
crazy.
breaks the immersion a little bit
But-
for you.
Yeah, to be fair, I get that. To be fair though, I'm like, there's something I kind of believe in the supernatural a little bit. There's weird stuff. There's like,
And-
I wouldn't say I'm not like 100% like, oh, hell and demons and stuff like that, but like
But
Yeah.
there's
there's definitely
something
like
there.
stuff I've experienced where like there's been like some paranormal shit before.
Yeah.
So,
And Carly believes that too. So that it makes
Yeah.
perfect sense that resonates with you
Yeah.
and scares you a
Yeah,
lot more.
yeah.
So
yeah. I think it's the loss of control too. Whereas someone with a Slayer movie, it's like, okay, I know how to handle someone who is trying to kill me because they're just another human being.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, cool.
cool, man.
don't know.
Make
Games
smart
are-
decisions.
Games are different for me because if I'm playing a scary game, chances are it's because I want to be scared, Otherwise, I just wouldn't play it. But so if I'm playing a game like that, I tend to just go into it with the presumption that I'm going to get scared and that's going to be fun or okay. I know I played Dead Space like that.
Ooh.
And that's a freaky game. Like when it came out, now the graphics are not as bad, or they're at a level where it's not as good as like a experience. I think they remastered it.
They are working on it. Yeah.
But at the time, dark, spooky, like spaceship, lights are flickering. Like it was a scary
Zombies.
game.
Yeah. That was very scary for the time.
Yeah.
I was definitely freaking out when I played it.
I would.
Do you like
Same
to be
with Alien
scared?
Isolation. Not usually, but I do think it's fun sometimes.
Really? Okay. Because that's never something I've never found. It's like I don't like being scared. I will deal with it, but it's like a challenge, right? Rather than I enjoy. It's like Colton with his spicy thing.
I was
right?
gonna say, this is
he,
like-
he enjoys
yeah,
the spiciness.
this is the spice
I just enjoy the
analogy.
challenge of it. I wouldn't say I enjoy like the extreme
I
like,
see.
spiciness, like my tongue on fire. I don't like enjoy the pain of it, but I enjoy the
like a
challenge
challenge.
of.
I feel like it gets your scary things, get your adrenaline going.
It
It's
does.
like,
A little bit,
ooh, that got me.
Yeah, that's like to me that's like a thriller or something intense. Like the slasher is more that tense because I'm like, okay, if I was in this situation, here's how I'd do it. That gets my adrenaline up. Whereas like the demon thing, it's just freaky because of like supernatural bullshit.
Yeah.
The most tense I've been during a movie was probably A Quiet Place.
Oh, really? That was a good
I
one.
was tensed up the whole movie, and to the point at the end, I relaxed finally, and everything was hurting because of how I was like clenching every muscle in my body.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good modern like thriller movie, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
If I watched it again, though, it would not be as scary. It's definitely
No.
more of a first time thing, and games are like that too, where they become not scary the more you play them.
Right.
I think.
right.
Because they're on rails. You know. If
Yeah,
you play
pretty much
Dead
in a
Space
way.
the second time,
or
you
the
know.
rules.
Yeah.
Man, I VR takes it to a whole nother level. I'll just say that. I won't go too deep into
That's
it.
true.
But I played some scary stuff in VR, and man, it's so good how it spooks you.
Oh, really?
We should try to hop on VR chat in the near future. Try to do some spooky stuff or something. That could be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, let me check the Oculus out again and see if it needs any updates, because there's been a lot of updates since we last major played on it.
I mean,
And
Facebook had a name change.
Yeah.
yeah, I had to do a whole new thing for that. But besides that, I was just messing around in the menus and thought, okay, so you have the hand tracking,
Yeah.
that it has, the native hand tracking, and I only messed around just trying that. And it was working flawlessly. It was working really well. And there's also now a thing where you can put in furniture. And it's like on the experimental features list. You can put in your furniture into the headset.
Interesting.
So that when you get into the default menu of Oculus, like there's like the lodge or the ryokan or something like that. Mm-hmm. In that space, you see your, say, couch or your desk area, right?
That's pretty cool.
Oh, so I can put my bed in VR?
Yeah, and it honestly made it so much more of an immersive experience, because I could walk over to my couch, see where it is in VR, and sit down on it, and then it's like, oh, do you want to switch to the couch area? And I'm like, sure. And then I'm like sitting on my couch, and it's just all seamless.
That's good.
It was really cool.
Yeah. I'll try that out.
I was impressed with it, and to the point where I could see where, in another 5-10 years, this is going to be a really cool experience.
Right. Mm-hmm. So look forward to that.
It's exciting for me. As I've talked in our previous Metaverse episodes and all that good stuff. Metaverse sucks, but like the VR world.
The VR
is
world.
Cool.
I'm ready for. Yeah, we're ready for Ready Player One.
Plugging.
We don't want to support the full Metaverse thing.
Did you see those articles recently of like how there's only 30 active users in the Metaverse?
Oh, I did.
And they're like. And like Zuckerberg's was throwing a fit because they spent billions of dollars to make this thing, and there's like less than 100 people playing this game.
Yeah.
That's great. In Horizon, because it's shit. I mean,
it's terrible.
If you make terrible product,
they could have just bought VR chat and it would have been better.
Yeah, they would have. The thing is, they probably would have ruined VR chat. I like VR chat being its independent thing. I really enjoy
they
it.
already did though. Did they not? Like who owns VR chat? Because I remember once someone bought it, it became harder to put your own models into the game.
Oh, interesting.
Who owns VR chat?
Is it like a big gaming corp, maybe?
Graham Gaylor is a what?
Huh? Is that a person?
CEO.
It looks like it's just owned by VR Chat Inc.
Is it there? Are they still independent?
Yeah, publishers VR Chat. Yeah. Maybe because they had
something did happen though, where they upped the difficulty to add things to it.
Huh.
Maybe it was when they joined Oculus or something like that, or had to do the app. But yeah, I mean, VR Chat is
okay.
Awesome.
Hold on. I'm on the Wikipedia page for VR Chat, and if I scroll down, there is the topic of in popular culture. The first one there
really
is Ugandan Knuckles.
What? Yes.
It says VR Chat gave rise to a meme known as Ugandan Knuckles, in which players use crude in-game models of Knuckles, the echidna from Sonic the Hedgehog series, while repeating the catchphrase, "Do you know the way?" in a mock African accent.
Oh my gosh, that's made it onto history. VR Chat.
I love how this is on Wikipedia.
Yeah. It's own.
Great.
It's got its own article apparently on Wikipedia. That's great. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So, besides that.
Yeah. So tangent of a tangent. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we were just talking about how the podcast has progressed. I mean, definitely.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done a lot of things now related to the podcast, or just, between this and streaming and, making videos, and Colton with his couple shorts.
Mm-hmm.
It's been good. I think just as like an overall result of the podcast, it's been cool to we've known each other for 6 years now, I would say.
Yeah. 6 years.
2015.
7 years.
And
7 years.
That's 6-7 years. But in the last year of doing this podcast, I've probably tripled to quadrupled the amount of things I know about you guys, just because we talk so often on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's different topics, right? We'll talk about when we're hanging out together. Normally, we'll shoot the shit on different topics, but nothing this deep. Sometimes on occasion, and we've had great deep conversations. But yeah, it's having the topics and having those discussion points is really fun.
Yeah.
I think it's been fun just hanging out with friends like that.
That is kind of the main core of it. It's just three lads hanging out, talking about whatever, shooting the shit. That's kind of like the base of it. And then we're just turning that into, this podcast thing where we try to also make it as entertaining as possible, which has been, it has been really fun. So,
if anything, if nothing else, it's just been an experience and cool. And I think it's honestly cool to say that we have all this stuff recorded.
Oh yeah.
To whatever, friends, family, any descendants that we have at some point.
Yeah.
Can listen and experience to as well. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
For
it's
sure.
funny you say that. I like people that I know who watch the podcast. They'll be like, "Oh, sometimes I just watch it because it's like I'm sitting in the room with you guys, and like they know us or they know me, or like for instance, I visited one of my cousins and she watches it actually quite often, and she was like, "Oh, like." Like
Hi,
it's
cousin.
like sometimes I'll watch this
cousin.
just exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like sometimes I watch this because it's like it's like our conversations that we'll sometimes have, or just like us shooting the shit. It's like being like right there, or a couple friends do the same thing. They'll like, all right, I wanna I'll watch it. Not like every episode, but like we'll just check out a couple episodes, and they'll be like,
I feel that's why a lot of people watch podcasts like this, where you're just kind of just a couple people talking. Because you want to be a part of some sort of conversation. And that's why I really started listening to podcasts in the first place, like years ago. Because I just wanted to, hang out with people in a weird parasocial relationship type way.
Yeah.
And because they have interesting conversations, I think it was the thing. I wouldn't have the same type of conversations with other people I know, but it's an outlet to be a part of a discussion that you want to have but wouldn't normally have, I think.
Yeah. It's an interesting kind of thing because a lot of people ask me, what I bring it up all the time, especially at work. They're like, what do you do for fun? And one of the things I always say is I do a podcast with my buddies.
Really? I've not told
Really?
anybody
You
to
don't
work
tell
at
them?
podcasts.
I
I've
tell them.
told like two people. Yeah.
I try to. I don't let them know what it's called. They don't ask, which I think is good.
Oh, okay.
They don't. I've never actually had someone like my boss has not asked like, "What's the podcast name?" Because I don't really feel comfortable. We have some just. I don't know. It's not safe for work topics.
I've definitely talked about work in the podcast, so I probably wish. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. But it's always got. People always ask me what's the podcast about, and it's interesting because
tell me if I know.
Yeah, I feel a little lame being like, I don't really know what we talk. I mean, I say we're kind of just nerdy. We talk about a lot of different.
I think a talk show is like the best way to
describe
describe
a talk
it,
show
right?
is probably a better way to explain it. And it's mostly us. I'd say, we it's our way of connecting. We talk a lot about different things. I talk about the like personality tests, like, oh, that's like one of the things we've done. It's kind of like challenges or fun games or whatever, so it's always interesting because a lot of people expect to say, oh, you're doing a crime dramas of the 1920s. Oh, like a lot of people, I feel like when they think of
we could do that as an
podcasts,
episode, but it's not
we
the main
could
focus.
yeah they some people think it's very categorized, which can be a benefit to some podcasts if you're trying to fill a niche or something. But for us, it's very open where it's just, we're trying to be, like you were saying, Mike, just a group of guys that you can listen to the podcast and you feel like you're part of the conversation, or it feels easy to walk into kind of thing, which I really like. I'm glad that's the reception we're getting from all these people that watch it, because I've gotten a couple.
Because I think that's definitely what we're trying to fill or be.
Yeah. There's a lot like us out there. But we're the best, or we're one. I'm not just kidding. It's fine. But yeah, I think it's the vibe I want for sure. It's a tough market out there, but it's definitely the vibe that I enjoy. I don't want to be super categorized.
Right.
Yeah. And like Sean and I could talk IT shit.
I was gonna say, yeah,
That's because we're in the same field, similar fields.
I can kind of talk.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Mike. You can finish your sentence if you need to.
No. Go for it.
I was just saying I can kind of talk some IT shit now. I mean, I know what a U is. I'm doing some cable management. I'm designing some enclosures for electrical parts.
It's
you are
supposed to
designing servers.
snow right now.
Wait, what'd you say, Sean?
I'm supposed to be getting snow in half an hour.
Man,
Sorry.
What?
doxing yourself,
I was
Sean.
supposed to be getting snow in half an hour.
Oh, great.
Bummer.
I actually semi wanted to dox myself because there's something I want to describe to you guys that I recently did, and I just think it's just such a I can't believe it even happened. So let me just continue on my tangent because I've completely derailed what
Derailed
we're
the convo.
talking about.
That was the end of that. But let's see what you have to say here, Sean.
So I recently went out to the salt flats, the Bonneville salt flats, and with a couple friends to just go get some pictures, see what it's like, all the fun stuff. So I wanted to drive out on them and check it out. So I went there, drove around, drove a little fast, not crazy fast.
Drove a little fast. They are meant to go fast on.
Yeah,
I think,
you're in a 2004 Jeep. It's almost 20
Yeah.
years old. So
Yeah, 18 to be exact, I think.
Yes.
And it's I got to like 50 or 60 or something like that. Highway speeds for sure.
for sure.
And just driving around, it was very very flat, very salty.
Very flat.
I tried the salt. I tried some of the salt from the
Really?
salt flats.
You can
it was
eat that
very
salt?
salty. It's salt, dude.
I mean, should you eat the salt?
Is there
Maybe
dirt
not.
in the salt?
It was a fresh patch. It's all salt. It's just there's no dirt. It's just all.
Well, I
salt.
mean, but
It's
like
like-
your rubber got in the salt.
Well, I didn't go on the stuff I drove on. I went on like a fresh patch,
Okay.
And so I was out there, we were taking pictures, very fun. We were there for sunset, and I had my GoPro with me, right? And I was taking pictures with the GoPro and some videos and things. Good time. Then we head back. Now, there's no like set path to get to this thing. There's a rest stop, like right there, and then you can kind of drive over the curb and then onto the salt flats. Okay. And then so it's I'm doing like some circles, head back to the salt flats. We're in the middle of it essentially, so it takes a good 5, maybe 10 minutes or so to get then back to the rest stop. Then you get on the road, on the highway, and this is directly off of the 80, right?
Yeah.
So you get on the highway, go to an overpass, you go 10 minutes down, then I have to take a left onto an overpass, or get off essentially, then take the overpass, and then get to the other side of the highway to go back, right?
Okay, California, you don't need to tell exactly which roads you have to take.
I do need to tell. This is a key to the story, right? So then I'm on the road for another 5-10 minutes. Okay. At this point, it's dark, or the sun has set and it's getting dark.
Yeah.
And at this point in my head, I think, where did I put my GoPro? And I think,
Man.
did I put the GoPro back inside my? I could not remember if I brought my GoPro back into my Jeep, right? Mm-hmm. I think I left it on the hood or something, and then but in my head I'm like, no, I brought it in.
Yeah,
Of course I brought it in. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do something stupid. And then for another couple minutes driving by, and
Highway speeds.
driving on the interstate, and I'm like, well, shoot, like if I did leave it, there's no way I could even find it. So what's the point of worrying about it? Like I can't turn around, go back,
And-
it's impossible.
Yeah.
I'm not finding it.
Right.
This little black camera on the middle of the salt flats, literally the middle. Like there's no way. Like, so it's not just worrying about it.
And
it's only 5 minutes or so. And I'm
what's
like,
the area of the salt flats for anyone who doesn't know? What's that square mileage?
I don't know how big it is. It felt like you could maybe like several square miles.
Several
probably.
square miles, yeah. Just a big open
Definitely,
area.
at least several square miles. I would say.
Right.
Another couple minutes go by. I'm like, all right. Wait, and I'm like, wait, I have an idea. I take out my phone, right, and I connect with the app, the GoPro app, so I can connect to the GoPro.
Okay.
And I pull that out, and it says, "Camera found." I'm like, "Oh, okay,
Nice.
Camera's here. I must have thrown it in somewhere." And then put my phone away, and a couple minutes go by, and I'm like, "Well, where is it?
What
though?
if it's not in the car?
I'm like, well, what if that was just the saved state of it and what it wasn't actually here? So I pull the phone again, and then I hit the power on button, right? I can remotely power on my camera.
Okay.
And it powers on. And I'm like, oh, okay, there's no way it could do that if it wasn't in the car. We're fine. So I put the phone away again, turn it off, turn the camera off, put the phone away again. And then I thought, well, why didn't I hear the camera? Because
Yeah,
normally
makes
when you
it
turn it
time.
on, it does a beep, 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 beep. And then you turn it off and it goes beep, beep, beep. Well, you know, four beeps.
There's other people in the car at this point, right?
Yeah. And at this point, I think, guys, I may have left. I don't know where my camera is. Can you look for it? And no one's just seeing it. And I turn the camera on again. I was like listening. Like, okay, it's not here. I don't hear it. Right? It's fairly loud. I would be able to hear it. So I think, okay, I'm just gonna pull over and check the trunk. Right?
right.
I could have thrown it in there. I put blankets and stuff in the trunk. Probably did that. And so I pull over, and you go over like the rumble strips on the side, right? And it like vibrates the car. Get out. Or I stop the car, and then I do the thing, and I hear it. And I hear the beeps, but it was really muffled. And I was like, oh, okay, must be in the
Somewhere.
back. Go check.
Yeah.
Check the back. There's nothing in the trunk. I'm like, where is this thing? And I could not figure it out. And as I was walking back to the driver's side, I look to my side, and I see my camera on the fender of my Jeep, just chilling on the flat part of the fender.
Jesus.
Is it on the rear, right?
No, the front.
The front of
The
your
front left fender of my Jeep. The GoPro was just sitting there, and I'm like, "Oh my God!"
Dear Lord.
Still, I cannot believe it stayed on my Jeep for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Turning, going up and down, bumps. Like, I don't know how it happened that it was able to stay on.
It's like the meme of the person who like leaves their coffee mug on the top of the car.
Yeah.
Right.
But I was going like, 80,
Yeah.
75, 80 down the highway. Like I was thinking, even if it is flat, there's no way that it stays on.
Yeah, I cannot
But it
believe
did,
that.
and I still have it.
That's wild.
I was like, I can't believe it. It's a miracle.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
Was it like nestled kind of in a little spot and that kept it
No,
secure?
it was just in the middle of the fender.
God.
I should have taken a picture
That
of it,
is
honestly.
crazy. It wasn't going the whole time, right? It wasn't?
No,
okay.
But I could have like turned on the preview and seen where it was, but I didn't do that. I was just turning on and off again, being like, "Where's the noise?"
Yeah. Man, that would have been freaky. You turned it on. It's just like going. It's like on the road. You're like,
I just see
whoa,
like the other side of the highway. Like, what the heck?
what's going on? Yeah.
So that was just something crazy that happened recently that I thought was unbelievable and wanted to share because it was so stupid that it actually happened.
That is
but amazing that I still have the camera.
I mean, you had some good footage there. That would have been a huge shame if you left it there, yeah?
Yeah, well, that and you'd be out like $400.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? It's not a cheap
expense.
camera.
Yeah. Well, that's wild. Wow.
Well, no, what it would do is, it'd be our next segment of what did Sean buy today? And it's like, oh, I got to replace my GoPro for like the 5th time because it either broke or got lost or fell in the river.
Hey, I've actually never had to, well,
No, that's a lie.
Maybe
You've
once.
definitely lost
Because
GoPros.
you definitely lost a GoPro in the river because we literally talked about
Yes.
this not too long ago.
but then I got a free one. So it balanced out.
Never had to pay. I thought you've lost
You still
like
lost
3.
it though.
So you lost it in the
Yes.
river. And then,
I try to just discuss how much I want to talk about that specifically because I did some interesting financial things to
Oh yeah, I
to
remember
have that happen. Basically, I lost a GoPro, but then I got another one. So it all worked out in the end, and I just lost some footage, and that was a very much a shame
but not as bad as
because it
losing
was
$400.
awesome footage.
Huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would have been so cool. I was getting good slow mo footage of Class 5 rapids,
With the one you lost.
Golly River.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A shame.
Oh, well.
But it happens. The life of the GoPro. Well,
I'm still holding out hope that someone finds it, and then I see on a subreddit like, "Hey, I found this camera. Who's in this footage?" And I go, "That's me."
that's me. Please.
That'd be funny.
It happened. I see it happen on the GoPro subreddit all the time. So
Really?
Here's hoping.
I'm sure
that'd
that's
be
a
really cool.
common thing. People drop something from a bridge, falls down to a trail, and someone finds it. Like, hey, post on Reddit.
I mean, those cameras are indestructible.
Yeah.
You could. I could find that camera in 5 years. If someone could find it in 5 years, and it would probably still work, and the SD card would be fine. You know.
That's crazy.
Very weatherproof.
Maybe
Those
one day.
things are. Yeah. Hopefully one day. One day.
There's my interruption for the. Well, not the only one for the podcast, I'm sure, but.
All right, yeah, viewers, you can cross-check Sean's story that he told today with one of our first in the 3 episodes, and you can see how much Sean has grown as a storyteller.
That was
solid
actually
storytelling.
Started off a little rough, but it was a sad story.
Started off
Gotta say.
rough.
Oh, good.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
It was a little because you didn't know exactly where we were going there, but then at the end, like
Oh, okay.
probably
I do
I'd say
think
the
I have
first-
gotten slightly better at telling stories over the course of this podcast.
I
Yeah,
think so.
I mean,
Because
we all have, I think.
I kind of
that's-
suck at telling stories.
That's the main
honestly.
reason I wanted to start. I've always been really jealous of my dad, who is an excellent storyteller. The dude can basically turn anything into a captivating story.
Yeah, yeah.
And I got my mother's genes on that, and she cannot tell a story for shit. It's very disjointed, and so I've always
Sorry,
been like
Mom.
jealous or almost envious of that ability. So that is one of the main goals of this was to be able to learn how to tell a story better or practice more, because that's what a lot of podcasts are. I mean, that's what this podcast is a lot, right? It's just telling stories.
Telling stories and talk about stuff. Yeah. I think both of you have gotten good, quite good. And I think, we have a lot to grow. I mean, if we were the best at telling stories, we could just start going up on stage and doing whatever. But I think for the first year, there's solid progress from all of us. Well, I guess viewers can tell us. I'd love to hear feedback from everyone that listens to us regularly to see if that sounds true.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Go back and listen to the shitty first couple episodes, and then
And I
especially
don't want to listen to the first couple episodes.
our Japan trip is pretty disjointed, not gonna lie. I've listened to it before.
Oh,
It is that.
Yeah.
So a couple of those episodes where we just kind of reminisce without any context. The thing that we also
Right.
didn't do a lot, and maybe we could definitely still improve upon this, I suppose. But the context of whatever we're talking about sometimes gets a
Absolutely.
little lost. But
We did. I think our original intention with the Japan episode was to do a kind of a how-to do a trip, which evolved into just us talking about our trip.
right.
Yeah.
I think if we were to, which was fun. I mean, I had a lot of fun because it was so fun.
It was fun to relive it.
Good to revisit it all. But as far as a structured podcast for a viewer trying to go to Japan, terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Might be a good remake.
if we did that again, I would love to have another Japan episode where we all come up with our top 5, 10 things that are either advice or places to go or things to see, and then why that is. And I think that'd be a much more helpful
As well as the
podcast.
trip planning. I think how
Yeah,
we
yeah.
do trip planning, I don't know if we've mentioned it before, but how we go about trip planning is really good for our personality type. There's definitely people who wouldn't like the way we do it because it's not
structured.
it's not structured. Yeah. It's structured in the ways it should be structured, but the day-to-day is not structured at all.
Right.
And therefore people, I think, some people could take they won't
They'd
really
have a
like
hard
that.
time with it.
Yeah.
Type A people would have a really hard time with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is funny because you're also like the most type A of us, but
Am I?
you're the most type A of us, yes. We've agreed upon
But am
that.
I type A?
But you're not type.
But you're not full type A. I don't
You're
think
not
Sean's
full
full type A.
Yeah.
He's not like my way or the highway, bitch. Get out. The Sean
Yeah.
is willing
And not
to.
like I need to be in control 100% of the time, all the time.
Right.
Yeah, so in that regard, I am not type A.
Yes.
But I do like to have, well, I don't
There are
know.
points where you were like,
It really depends on my mood, honestly.
yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, there are points during a trip where you're like, I'm gonna do this, and if you guys don't want to do it, it's totally cool. But I'm definitely gonna do it. You know,
Yeah.
and I think that's fair. Like, if you really want to do something in Japan or wherever you go, yeah, like we can all be flexible. That's like the best part about our trip. That when we did do it, we can kind of be flexible with it. So,
Right.
but yeah, revisiting that episode would be great. to kind of go. We just need to go back to Japan and then do another episode on that.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Honestly, I'm getting
Do
a
an
little
episode
bit.
from Japan. That'd be fun.
I'm gonna have to go like next year or
Let's
something.
go back to Japan. Let's bring our equipment. Go back to Japan and buy 3 strong zeros for each of us, and then
I would love to get more drunk in
blasted.
Japan.
The tall boy ones, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
It's
no.
easy to get drunk in Japan, that's for sure.
it sure is. It sure is. They got good stuff.
I mean, we can do. I mean, we've got a trip planned coming up next year. That we've been wanting. We talked about it a little bit before,
yeah, we're going
but
to Spain.
Yeah, going to Spain.
yeah, kept getting pushed back, and it's supposed to be this December, and then like Christmas events happened, so we finally got it set in stone. Flights booked.
Yeah, we have flights. That was a big thing.
Yeah.
Getting flights.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very true.
Well, do you have flights, Colton?
No, but I'm gonna get flights.
Because there's the one person we're waiting on who doesn't have flights.
Yeah, but
Is-
like, here's the thing:
the one right there.
even if I have to wait, even if I for whatever reason wait till a week before we go, I'm still going. I don't care. I'll pay $2,000 for a ticket. I don't care. I'm going. It's not. I'm not gonna not
Dude,
go.
Just
because of
look for
this.
flights right now.
I
Look
know.
For flights right
I
now.
know. I know. I understand. I
It's
will.
easy. Just do it right after this.
I should.
I was actually thinking recently about Japan and how they're going to have a serious problem in like 40 years. It's just gonna be
They're gonna have a
really
serious
bad.
problem in 10 years.
Well, yeah, but like there's going to be you have the span of like, 10 to 30 years when all the old people die. Mm-hmm. And that's the majority of their population right now. It's going to be a really massive problem. And then I was thinking, well, what if, right? They had this, like they're probably going to have to do something extreme. Like we're going to pay foreigners to come into the country, to live here. I don't know, something like that. And I thought if that became a thing, I would do it.
Bali is
I'll
actually
do
doing
it.
something right now. They're doing it so you we're called digital nomads.
yeah.
Bali is putting forward a proposition right now, and I think the 6-month version is passed. They want a year version of this that is on the ballot still for Indonesia. And Bali is doing this where digital nomads can have a 6-month visa to stay in Bali and pay 0 taxes while in Bali.
No taxes.
And
How does that
now,
benefit though?
for the U.S., you still have to pay your U.S. taxes, right? Because of that stupid shit.
Yeah.
But the benefit is,
Oh yeah.
well, they are contributing to the economy because Bali's a very tourist heavy, right? So if you are a remote worker and you work, you can have flex hours / if you work like nights, you can just go to Bali and work,
Yeah.
work there.
You'll help their economy flourish because you're like, buying their groceries, going to their restaurants, doing their things.
Yeah, that is an interesting way of doing it because you're spending the money to be there, to live.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yet the country, in a way, their economy is not paying you to be there because you're being paid from your home country if you're.
It's basically a way
working.
to transfer funds from whatever home country. they're
Yeah,
coming from
that's an
into
interesting
the-
idea.
Yeah.
It's not bad. And I think Japan could probably do something like that, digital nomad. But Japan, the cultural there is very
Yeah,
different.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's very
this
different.
would take like the country would definitely be unrecoverable by the time they decided to do this.
Yeah.
And Japan, they tend to be fairly xenophobic, and
Yeah.
the idea of immigration has been put forward quite a bit, and that's the best way to bring more people into the country, but that's
Yeah.
not happening.
It's
anytime
just
they don't
soon.
not
do it.
as popular. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I would like to visit
if-
as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to visit within the next 10 years before
Yeah.
the country
Yeah,
implodes.
I still like the original idea we had literally a year ago, where we buy a house in Japan and
well, but
use
see,
that
if you
as
buy
like
a house in Japan and the country implodes, it's not going to be a very good house.
It's true, yeah.
Well, actually, I'd take the risk.
I doubt-
the
it's not gonna
houses you're
impl- it's
looking
not
at,
gonna
Sean,
implode.
they're like $30K. That's fine. I'll take the risk. I don't mind.
Yeah. Resell it.
You won't need to do repairs in the house because
Yeah.
there's no point. The house will fall down after the country dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God,
no,
I
but
hope. Yeah.
I definitely.
To be fair, I really hope Japan doesn't have these issues.
I was gonna say, yeah,
everything's pointing to it gonna implode.
Yeah, I really hope that does not happen. I do like Japan quite a bit.
They just have to get rid of their absurd work culture, like that.
Yeah.
The insane hours people work. People aren't going to have families with that, right? Shit,
You can't. It's impossible.
people don't want to have families right now in the States with an average 40 hours a week, 40 to 50, right?
Right.
That
Yeah.
most people work. And
What do you think would happen first? Japan gets rid of its work culture values, or if they set aside their xenophobia?
Probably
That's a
neither
tough
of them.
one, I think.
Yeah.
Neither. Forever.
Probably the former, frankly, because what they got to is, the issue though is well, I say 10 days though, or not 10 days, 10 years.
10
10
days,
years
the country's gone.
is
no.
that the big like baby boomer period is in the next 10 years. That's when the baby boomers go into retirement. Same thing with the U.S. because the populations are roughly the same, baby boomer wise.
Sure, yeah.
So that's why I said the next 10 years. And then Japan will essentially have as many retired people
As working people.
compared to working people, yeah.
Yeah.
But politically, you don't have to retire at that age, do you?
You don't have to, but that's like the norm.
So they could still have prime ministers and such, or cabinet members that are still driving the country into the ground.
That are like 80, yeah.
Yeah, when not retiring, you know.
Yeah.
So you have to really think in the terms of death. Like, when are they gonna die?
Yeah, that's for just the Japanese. I feel like that is how you'd have to think, that kind of timeline. So yeah, hopefully I mean, the only thing I worry about is it doesn't seem, and I'm talking a little bit out of my ass because I don't know the political
We're all talking
climate.
about we're all talking
we
about
are.
our
Yeah,
lives.
yeah.
It just doesn't seem like the younger generation is totally 180ing the older generation. It's kind of, they're following
fair.
suit of their elders, which is culturally how they, kind of go anyways.
Yeah, that's also a cultural thing
So-
in a lot of communal countries where they just want to either follow suit or respect your elders. So you want to honor their memory and how they do things.
Yeah.
And the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. I think that's the the colloquialism.
Hammer down into the coffin, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seal that fate.
But
Yeah.
But
So
I
ho-
would be 100% down though for buying a fixer-upper house in Japan, and then like I'll take a couple months off work or something like that, or do it in between jobs.
I wish.
Fly out there and work on the house, and then we'd have like between the three of us, we'd have essentially a timeshare.
Yeah.
that we could just go to.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, you could.
Because how cool would that be?
That'd be pretty sick. Yeah, I'd be going
Maybe
out
like
there
fe-
so much.
Yeah, and like future families, like say if we got now I think the main thing would be, all right, what's the the migration and like can we actually buy a house out there? Do
Right.
We, like what's
Right.
the stipulation?
Yeah.
Can we stay out there for
have to
longer
really
than
look
45
into it.
days? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's all those logistics.
Hey, boss, I'm gonna be gone for about 4 or 5 months and only working at night.
Yeah.
All right, let's-
Honestly, my job could evolve into that. I know a lot of people whose jobs could maybe support that in the future, which is just amazing to think about. To think that
Yeah.
actually could maybe work in the future. Amazing.
I mean, plenty of
yeah,
IT
my next
people.
job, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love honestly I'd love to do night shift or like second shift maybe. But maybe not that. But yeah, like work my own hours in a different country. Why not? And then
Yeah,
work night
why
shift
not?
in the States, because night shift in the States is like tends to be fairly relaxed.
yeah, for
So it's
sure.
like-
Relaxed and pays more because no one wants to do it.
Exactly.
So as long as you can get someone that actually is night shift but remote, then why not?
Yeah. Seems like a good way to go. Nice. Going back to the podcast though, on our podcast development. So
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys this. I just thought of it. What are your guys' thoughts on going with video for the future? What's the thoughts there? We talked about it, and we're like, we'll decide in 20 episodes. But we're not doing it. What are your thoughts? I'm just curious. It could be for it or oh, Mike's dad walking in the background. It could be for it or against it.
Here's my problem with video. At this point, I wouldn't mind like having my face out there. That's not too much of an issue to me.
Yeah.
The bigger issue is all of the cost that comes with having to add video. Like
Yeah.
cost financially, cost in time, cost, and I mean, that's kind of the two things,
Yeah,
right?
big time sink for sure.
It's
Cost
just
in memory too. There's
Oh,
your
yeah.
you're upping your like the resources, right?
yeah. If I would, if we were all in the same area and we could go to one location to
Yeah.
record, I would say why not, right? But us all being separate makes it immensely more difficult to do that.
Yeah.
I think.
You have 3 different camera feeds or 3 different things you have to clip together instead of one. And
You have to upload that.
yeah.
You have to then record it. You have to render it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and edit it together, which is a pain in the butt compared to
Yeah.
audio. And if it was just one segment, it'd be a lot easier.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with it. I'm with you on that.
And
Plus, I feel like you don't get the same like just us like recording essentially our Discord calls, like right. That's it's not bad.
So
but-
you'd have to get another camera, right? And that records you. And then you have to sync that. And then you have to upload that footage, which is way more space and more time to upload. I think it's just a compounding problem when you're apart and also doing video, right?
Yeah.
Audio, it's whatever. It's really not that big of a deal. But a video adds several more layers of complexity.
it exponentially rises it, yeah. And I
unfortunately.
from my point of view.
And then you need to decorate your background.
yeah, I was
right?
gonna say
Like,
I'd have to clean up this.
I would want to change up how this looks.
Yeah, we'd have to make it
Yeah,
impressive. Got to be streamer ready, for sure.
Right.
So yeah,
Definitely, I'm not streamer ready.
yeah, me neither. Absolutely not. My room's a mess right now, and I have crooked paintings in the background, which might just be
You
part of
do.
the meme. That might just be part of the meme, but yeah, for me, I've always been super like for video. I think when we started the podcast, I was really for the video, but honestly now, knowing how much that would add, editing a few short 60-minute videos together myself and seeing how that is tough.
60 minutes.
Sorry,
60 seconds.
second videos, not 60 minutes. Yeah, video would definitely be off the table unless our podcast definitely blew up a few levels. It really got,
yeah, we're
multiple
to the
levels
point where we
bigger.
could hire an editor essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the point where-
if we hired an editor, I'd be like, whatever.
I was gonna say
I'll do whatever.
It would only be at the. We'd only do a video if we were getting like sponsored or something. I feel like that's multiple leagues above where our podcast is currently at.
right.
It would have it would be there eventually, but yeah, right now I'm definitely down to keep the no video going. It's a dream of mine to have this be able to be videoed. I would love that to be the case.
It'd be very cool.
But yeah, my stance on it has definitely calmed down to where it's like, oh, we don't need to do video unless we're kind of on that trend to our viewers would much more appreciate video, because most of our viewers don't even go on YouTube, and it wouldn't even be a huge benefit to us anyways.
Right.
So yeah, okay. I just want to see where you guys stood on that, because we never revisited.
Yeah. My original stance has changed from just being like, I don't really want to show my face, but to being like, I don't care about that anymore. It's more about the logistics.
Yeah. Yep. Because you are
Yeah.
our editor, Sean. You're the one that's gonna have to spend the extra 2-3 hours a week dumping that in.
Oh, more than that.
You think more
yeah,
than that?
I feel like it'd be at least 10 hours a week.
10
doing
hours? Would that
full.
what really? That much time?
Well, okay. It's not only. It depends on what level you get to, right? So, if say I wanted to put all of our 3 video streams, how it's arranged in Discord, so you can see all of us,
Right.
it wouldn't be as difficult, right? But if all of a sudden you wanted to then cut between our faces as we're talking,
Oh yeah.
that adds probably double the time of the actual
Yeah.
recording time.
Yeah, we wouldn't want that.
And then
Wouldn't
you
want
have to
that.
render the final thing out, which is equally double, or not double, but the same or double of the recording time,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if we record for an hour and a half, that is now 3 for like about 5 to 6 hours of work per week to do that. Maybe like a skilled editor, of which I am not, but a skilled editor could probably cut that down immensely.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, that is what it is.
It's
yeah.
just, logistically, it's tough.
It's just
Yeah.
and that's only one piece of the puzzle. The time, not the money on storage and all this other stuff. So okay, well,
Yeah.
one day we might get there. That's the
One day
slogan.
we might get there. Look
One
at
day
that.
we will get there.
Yeah. Are there anything? Since we're getting kind of to the end of our podcast, is there anything this next year that you want to bring or you want to do differently? Are there any things? I have a few that I have been thinking of that I wanted to do that are pretty simple. Like, I want to get more guests. I've been telling you guys what would be really fun, and I feel like it would work is if you wanted to get any like interesting guests. You could just like email random YouTubers, small YouTube channels of like topics we think are interesting. Be like, yo, you want to come on a podcast just for an hour?
Yeah, that might be
could
fun.
be a really fun
That'd be
way.
a little nerve-wracking, honestly.
Absolutely. But
Oh, yeah.
that would be a good, I think that'd be good for us though. I mean, just to kind of deal with that. I think that'd be fun. It would be nerve-wracking, but
Yeah, it would be kind of a growing experience.
yeah, I think that'd be really fun. So I would love to maybe more guests in general. We have a few in the pipeline that we're going to bring on, but more of those would be great. And then for obviously, I keep saying this almost every other week, but more TikToks. I want to keep making those TikToks. I have every podcast I have.
Or just shorts. It's shorts.
The shorts, yeah, shorts. TikToks, yeah. Every
It's like Kleenex now. It's
yeah,
short.
it really is. But every episode, I'm like, I have 1 or 2 clips I can make out of this, but it's in the backlog now.
It also might be good to just get like a 10-minute clip and post that on YouTube or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, so YouTube has a feature with clips. If you want to send me like, hey, if you think this is a good spot to do a clip, just send it. Let me know, and I can look back into it because you may spot something that I don't. You can go in and you can just go clip. It's literally built into YouTube systems now. When I was doing my
Interesting.
investigation with like streaming and stuff like that. Yeah, it's
Interesting.
literally built in there, and so we can just take a clip. It's not as interesting as the shorts that you make because there's no graphics. It's the main thing would just be our clip of our discussion, right, with the
Right.
background, our
Yeah.
our awesome background. But
Yeah.
for the most part, it's fairly straightforward with that, and then you could always transfer those clips into something. You find the clip, and you can always just transfer that into something like a TikTok.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. What about you? Do you guys?
think-
Yeah. Go ahead if you have anything.
I was gonna say I don't feel that I don't know how to describe that. I don't feel like I need to stop doing this anytime soon.
Yeah.
If anything, it's just I enjoy hanging out with you guys.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
That's why it's fun to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we've gotten into a really good rhythm in what we come up with and how we record. I think we only really had the one recent moment when we had to record several episodes a week because we were so far behind.
Yeah.
And that was a little bit like, oh, okay, we gotta do that. Not stressful, but it was just it was we had to set aside a lot of time per week to do that.
Right.
But if we keep on top of that, then I think it's no problem at all to record and make these things. So
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice at its very simplest form, just hanging out and doing the thing. And then, yeah, like that's all I need really to keep doing it. But then let's just, I don't know. Let's just build it into this
and
empire.
if we get some feedback from viewers that enjoy our content, then even better.
Yeah. I like
Absolutely.
the viewer content, the viewer feedback, I love them telling me how great we are, how I guess shitty we are. We haven't gotten many bad comments yet though. Gotta say.
I feel like we don't talk too much about places where viewers can interact with us, but we do have a subreddit. We do have
do
YouTube.
we? Did you make this?
We have a subreddit.
Yeah.
I didn't know I didn't know you made that public yet. Really?
I mean, yeah, I created it.
I didn't know
and
that was
then-
actually a thing. Oh,
I think so.
that's
I mean,
awesome.
It's on. If it's not, I gotta make sure
I gotta
it is
look
before
this up right now.
podcast comes out.
I remember you. I thought you made the page and then didn't make it live or something.
I think I made the page, but I didn't upload anything to it. So I don't think I made the. Let me.
Oh, yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's definitely alive. r/almost a podcast. There's only a lounge, like a live chat, but
Oh, I don't think I even made that. I didn't put any like custom artwork or anything. I don't think.
There's one member, but 5 are online. How does that make any sense?
Yeah, that's totally not a thing. I don't know. They have random numbers there. I think.
How can you tell? Oh, we only have one member. Okay. Interesting. I did not know this was actually live. It's been live for a while, for over half a year.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, 6 months.
I had no idea. Well, I guess you can post on. I've never said that on the outro, but you can post on our Reddit apparently. Nice.
We can add that to our thing now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
r/almost a podcast.
Nice. Thanks, Sean. That's our.
So yeah, maybe I'll actually start using that.
That's our
because we do have an almost podcast Reddit user that we can use.
Yeah, we should have made that the big
comment on
reveal.
things.
After a year of the podcast, we finally made our Reddit page. Join now.
Right.
Very good.
We also still haven't done a Twitter or anything like that. Or have
Yeah. I really wanted Carly to do that. I think she was like, I don't know if I can do that, guys. She doesn't think she'll capture the almost a podcast vibe if she does the Twitter. But
She's been on 3 episodes now. She can capture them.
I know.
Has it been 3? Wow. Yeah.
She's been on 3.
Think so.
Yeah. But we really should get a Twitter because that would be a good way to just meme.
We should definitely before this episode airs. So if you want to make that,
Oh yeah, okay.
that'd be great.
I'll start following people, memeing. I feel like I'm just gonna follow a ton of people.
Just make sure to follow Elon Musk.
oh god,
Oh god. I'm just gonna follow a bunch of
don't know
anime
about that.
pages.
Just
I
at
feel like.
Elon Musk randomly.
Just a bunch of anime pages. I'll follow Marvel, and then I'll follow the anti-Marvel. Then we can both comment on their
Marvel
random-
haters?
Marvel and
haters.
DC. Speaking of DC, though, hold on.
Uh-oh.
I just saw Black Adam yesterday.
Okay.
Easily the best DC movie they've ever made, besides Batman, the Dark Knight.
Oh, is Batman?
Really?
Is Batman DC in that DC universe? Or the Dark Knight?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the Dark Knight's not in the DC universe. But you're
but
thinking,
DC made it.
yeah,
Oh, like that,
better
yeah.
than Man of Steel. That was the Superman one with Henry Cavill.
Yes, I would say so. I think it's the best, and it's definitely the best.
Superhero
I'm in
DC?
quotes. What's the thing? The Justice League. It's the best in-universe Justice League
Yeah.
movie
DC
that they've made.
Cinematic
100%.
Okay.
Universe, yeah.
And then expanding upon that, it's probably second best only to Dark Knight
So it's better
in
than
terms of DC movies.
It's better than Batman
Really?
Begins and
Or are you thinking the full Dark Knight saga?
The full Dark Knight
the full
saga
Dark
I
Knight
count
saga.
as one.
I was gonna say that is I feel like that's a bold claim because that
Yeah.
movie better be good if it's
Yeah,
as good as
I've also
those.
heard it's not the greatest, but
What?
Black Adam.
Black Adam?
Yeah.
It was awesome. I don't know what those people are talking about. It was
All right.
such a good movie.
I gotta watch it then.
I've heard.
'Cause-
Sorry, Mike. Don't mean to cut you off. I've heard it's at least got really good action. I've heard it's falls a little flat on maybe character development and other stuff like
Yeah.
that, but the action's really good, which it did seem pretty.
Yeah, I
cool.
mean, I could see it. I mean, there's not a ton of character development, but it does things that I think are really unique for a superhero, quote unquote, superhero movie, because he's not a hero. He says that many times.
I'm no hero.
I'm not a hero.
I kill people.
But the action is done very well. The fighting is done very well, and a lot of other stuff that does not involve fighting and action is done very well. If character development is a little light, there's an after credit scene. It's very cool. Highly recommend to stick around for that. I don't know. It was a very enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
Compared to the other DC films out there.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean,
I don't know.
If
Did
I
you
can-
watch the Snyder cut?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was annoying.
yep. Yeah, I'll probably watch
That was about an hour too long.
Yeah.
I'll probably watch Black Adam when it comes on stream. I think I think at least for the action, it's probably worth seeing. It's probably a fun movie.
Definitely.
At the
Yeah, it's not worth
For
it
the action.
for me to go to the movies for it.
What?
Frankly.
I'd see it again in theaters.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we should talk about this again on the podcast. See if see if it redeems DC.
Yeah, we can
When you guys
do our,
eventually
our,
see it.
our DC tier
Oh,
list
DC
when it comes
takes.
to-
Oh
We
god.
talk about Marvel. We
Yeah.
could talk
Would
about
anything
DC.
be A? I mean, just besides everything, you have
Everything is
Batman
C or
A,
below.
and then everything else is C or below.
Yeah. Actually, I think Man of Steel for me would be B. I enjoyed Man of Steel.
I also really enjoy Man of Steel, and I really liked Aquaman too. Actually,
Oh, Aquaman was good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad.
If Man of Steel is better than Aquaman, then that's. I mean, I didn't think Aquaman was amazing, but if Black Adam is better than Aquaman, I would say that's probably it's a good movie. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'd say it's better than Aquaman, definitely. Yeah,
Cool. Well, good for
as
DC.
just like a straight movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for DC.
Yeah, they finally. I think they're figuring it out. It took them 10 years, but they're
They're
slowly
figuring
it out.
Yeah.
They're getting there.
Yeah.
Someone in the boardroom goes, "Hey, I've heard of this thing called Marvel. Let's try and do that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey.
Well, I think it's just a different character set, right? We're
Yeah.
kind of getting on a tangent with this, but DC is they tend to be very simple. They tend to be very simple characters compared
Yeah.
to the more like nuanced Marvel characters.
They just don't flesh them out as much. I mean, Marvel's nuanced because they take time to give them the backstories and just things that aren't revolved around their superpowers, you know? That's
Yeah.
why Man of Steel was really good, because it was not so much about Superman doing Superman things. It was him about, like, growing up and more about Krypton and other things like that.
Yeah.
And learning to become a good person before he's a superhuman.
Yeah. I saw a breakdown of Man of Steel, and it made me reappreciate the movie because of how well they did tough guy fights, like super strength fights. Because when they throw people into a wall, they don't just go through the wall, but they go through the wall, the next house, and then like knock an oil tanker over. You know, it's everything felt like it had weight, and a lot of things that they do wrong, especially when someone can fly, is the feeling of weight behind punches and movement. And Man of Steel did that really well.
I agree. Yeah.
Nice.
But
Well, cool.
I could go on that for a while, so I want to
yeah.
Yeah,
ourselves
yeah.
off there.
Well, this was this is a good ending segment for the podcast. So, thank you everyone for watching. Thanks if you've been with us since the beginning for this past year. You're amazing. Please tell your friends. Keep watching. We love to have all you listeners being active and really appreciate you all. Again, I guess you can find us on Reddit now. Leave us a comment, make a post, do whatever you want. Like, subscribe, whatever you need to do on whatever platform. Appreciate it. And, we're a year in, but we're not there yet. So one day we'll get there. One day.
One day. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate the view.
Thank you for
Hopefully
listening.
have another year or many years ahead of us. Bye-bye.